Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson Football Channel for 6 things that we learned from Manchester United 0, Chelsea 0. It's another goalless draw, it's another clean sheet for Frank Lampard's Chelsea. And there's a lot of talking points from this game, again, like the Sevilla match, despite there not being any goals, which kind of makes an analysis video slightly more dull. We've got a lot to talk about today. There were some very good performances out there from certain Chelsea players. But before we get into anything, I do want to ask you to subscribe to the George Benson Football Channel. There's still a very vast portion of people that watch these videos that haven't yet hit the subscribe button. So if you do enjoy this, hit the like button, make sure you subscribe, and then you'll never miss another video again, hopefully. That is, if you check your subscription boxes most days. But there's only really, for me, one place that I want to start in this video, and I don't want this whole video to be a rant, but I do want to start with this. It's a red box for not a Chelsea player, but the video assistant referee. It seems to be a recurring theme with me that I make videos saying how I don't understand the point of VAR. Now, if you remember back to when Michy Batshuayi was kicked in the box by Harry Maguire at Stamford Bridge last season, nothing was happening as a result of that. We look back on it and we thought, you know what, that's a legitimate part of the game, that is. There's nothing in that one, we're going to let that one slide. Today, Harry Maguire was probably thinking, blimey, I'm stood here in the rain in Manchester playing when I could be at home in front of a nice television watching a bit of UFC. He got a little bit too involved in that and he decided to get his arm around the neck of Cesar Azpilicueta, dragging him to the floor, making it impossible for Azpilicueta to put in a legitimate challenge to try and win the aerial battle. Harry Maguire, once again, gets away with everything. The video assistant referee, they hardly even talked about it in the commentary, to be honest, which again, I don't quite know what game they were watching, but it is probably one of the most blatant fouls you will see this season. However, yet again, VAR isn't used in the way that it probably should be. No retrospective action. Chelsea don't get the penalty, which probably would have been our best chance of scoring a goal, if not the only chance we have today of scoring a goal. We're going to get into the reasons why I thought that was a little bit later on. But it is a massive red box for VAR. I don't want to just be the Chelsea fan who complains when it goes against us and then maybe next week it might go in our favour. For me, it's just a little bit fishy. Harry Maguire, VAR, Man United. They even spent longer talking about the potential penalty on Marcus Rashford a couple of minutes later, which I don't understand it. You can see in the halftime analysis with Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank and Patrice Evra, which arguably was the most exciting part of this game, to be honest, and the ad breaks. You know, I haven't seen UK ads for a while because I don't really watch UK TV unless it's football, and I'm like, don't know what's going on with these ads, but it's certainly more entertaining than the football. So box number 1 is a red for VAR. I think it's a stonewall penalty. You can argue with me in the comments if you like, but I think this one is pretty self-explanatory. But we move into box number 2, and it's a green box for my Chelsea man of the match, and it is Thiago Silva. I thought he was absolutely brilliant again. There was particularly a brilliant block that he made against Edinson Cavani, his former PSG teammate, in the second half. Every time I see Thiago Silva put on the blue shirt, I think of the bargain signing of the summer. We spent a lot of money on attacking players and Ben Chilwell, Edouard Mendy, who we're certainly going to get onto later. Chelsea has spent a lot of money, but Thiago Silva on a free is looking like a wonderful piece of business. He was playing in the centre of a centre-back 3 with Azpilicueta on his right, Kurt Zouma on his left. And again, there's absolutely no doubts in my mind that the fitness of Thiago Silva is up there with any player of a much younger age. He's 36 years old. He's got all of the experience in the world. He's got the leadership, and seeing him play alongside Azpilicueta, it allowed us to see, I think, the best today of Reece James. I thought Ben Chilwell put in another good defensive display. It was better from Zouma than what we've seen in the last couple of matches, where he's made a couple of mistakes and a couple of errors started to creep back into his game. I thought Thiago Silva was immense at the back today. The commentary gave him a lot of credit. Obviously, with a 0-0, the best Chelsea player on the pitch was always going to be a defender. We didn't create anything going forward, but Thiago Silva was fantastic. We move into another red box, and it's box number 3. Again, I didn't want this to come across as a solely negative video, but for the second time in a week, I see a serious lack of cohesion in Chelsea's ability to create attacks. We might have some of the most attractive attacking players in the league when it comes to what they can do with the ball, but at the moment, and that this was a key struggle for Chelsea today, we weren't able to string passes together. When Manchester United had the ball, they were playing it in nice little triangles. They were able to string 5, 6, 7, 8 passes together. With Chelsea, I didn't see that. I thought in the final third, everyone was kind of looking to, apart from Reece James, who got in some good crosses, people were trying to do their own thing, but there wasn't really any ideas. People weren't making space. Timo Werner was isolated. Kai Havertz, again, I didn't think had his best game. Similar for Christian Pulisic, who struggled to get into the match. At times, he did look bright on the edge of the area. But it is worrying right now for Chelsea that we're 6 games into the season. We've dropped a lot of points in matches we should be winning. And today, apart from a Reece James free kick, which I don't know, we'd have to speak to Reece Boy himself and say, like, was that supposed to be like a Fabio Aurelio kind of shot where we're trying to catch De Gea off and score? Or was that a classic Reece James whip into the box, hoping that someone can get themselves on the end of it in a decent position? It was the only shot that Chelsea had on target. David De Gea, he normally has a good game against Chelsea, but today he could have almost stayed at home because we didn't really offer anything going forward. We didn't offer any shooting opportunities. And it is a little bit worrying, despite the clear progressions that we've made this week defensively and 2 clean sheets against both Sevilla and Manchester United at Old Trafford. It's not something that we should be complaining about. It's a very, very good stat for Chelsea. We've really built and developed over the course of the last 2 games, but I do feel as though it's at the detriment to what we can create going forward. We've not done anywhere near enough today to score a goal, and I think it's frustrating because the way I've seen this Man United team play throughout the course of this season, they're a team you can get at. They're a team that if you do attack their defence, they're not only liable to mistakes, but I don't necessarily think the quality was there. I thought today Wan-Bissaka was very good for United. Harry Maguire, don't even want to get started on him. I'm too frustrated about the headlock that went begging in the first half for a penalty, but I've already bitched about that, so we're going to move on. Chelsea, that red box for box number 3, we've got to start being more creative going forward. We've got the players to do so. At the moment, I simply feel as though it's a case of they're not quite gelling in the final third. There's something missing, the final ball or the transition from the central defensive midfield pivot into that attack. The passing isn't there. It's not quick enough. It's not sharp enough. And it needs to improve. And I move into box number 4, and I thought it was a brilliant performance again today from our captain, Cesar Azpilicueta. I thought playing in the back alongside Thiago Silva, allowing Reece James to be more creative going forward, to use that attacking prowess that he has, I thought it was smart from Lampard to actually use this 3 at the back system. We saw it last season away at Spurs, where Chelsea went there, got 3 points, kept the clean sheet. It does work well for Chelsea against some of the bigger teams away from home, playing this 3 centre-back with wing-backs going forward. Today, Reece James and Ben Chilwell did well, but Azpilicueta, it was a real captain's performance. When you look at the TV, you see the rain coming down at Old Trafford. Azpilicueta, it's his 9th season at Chelsea, and every single time he puts on that blue shirt, I feel like I say this in every video, but you can see the determination. Sometimes Azpi makes mistakes, but it's never due to concentration lapses. It's always Azpi's focused on getting the ball away from the Chelsea goal, going forwards, even though we didn't really get any shots away. Azpilicueta was there in the final third, making interceptions, making sure United didn't get that counter-attack that we know they're so dangerous on. Thought it was a brilliant performance from our captain. I thought it worked very well alongside Thiago Silva. Maybe we see that a little bit more if we can develop, as I said in box number 3, be more creative, be more decisive with those passes in the final third, then I think Chelsea will be okay. We've made a lot of defensive progress. Box number 5. Even though there wasn't a lot to shout about going forward today for Chelsea, I am going to give box number 5 to Reece James. I thought he did very well up against Luke Shaw. It was a very tight defensive game where both teams were looking very reluctant to go forward. There was a lot of safety football being played today where both teams know that defending has been an absolute shambles, which to the neutral before the game, including myself, I thought it would have been a catalyst for a gluttony of goals, but it was the absolute opposite today. Both teams, I think, were very tentative. They were scared to really make that decisive pass. Reece James, though, whipped in a couple of brilliant crosses. Sadly, Havertz or Werner couldn't get on the end of it. You had Christian Pulisic sliding in as well, trying to get that goal in the box. But Reece James, I thought every time we see him, we see that quality he has with that delivery. We saw his strength today. He made a couple of good blocks and a good bits of shielding of the ball in the first half as well. Reece James looking promising, and obviously playing alongside both Azpilicueta in the right centre-back and Thiago Silva. You see Reece alongside, shoulder to shoulder with Silva coming out for the second half, talking to one another. Reece James' development is going to absolutely skyrocket playing alongside these guys. I thought he was very solid. It was a great performance from Reece James. But you could argue, despite me giving my Chelsea man of the match to Thiago Silva, The real man of the hour, which allowed Chelsea to come away with a point instead of 0, was Edouard Mendy. There were 3 massive saves that Mendy made in this game. First one coming from Rashford, second from Juan Mata, and then Marcus Rashford again with a brilliant effort towards the end. Edouard Mendy made some fantastic saves. I will bring up the fact he almost scored one of the most bizarre own goals that I've ever seen. It was, again, maybe he was a bit bored from the football he'd been watching, closed his eyes and just decided to pass it almost in his own net. That was a shaky moment, but the 3 saves that he made, again, I don't think the commentary did it justice. I thought there was definitely a Man United bias today in the commentary. Not really a surprise, but the first one with his feet was very good. Again, we see that Mendy's capable of making those different kinds of saves, be it with his hands, be it with his feet, flying through the air, the basic catches like the one from Bruno Fernandes. The first one was great, the second one from Mata was at a really nice height, but the main one, and it was the best effort of the match, it was Marcus Rashford's bending effort in the 90th minute. Mendy goes flying across the goal, it's tucking itself in to the side netting of the goal. United would have seen that as a winner, Chelsea wouldn't have gone ahead and scored another one, and Edouard Mendy saved the day. He's box number 6 today for Chelsea. We can clearly see the golfing class between Mendy's performances so far. It's another clean sheet for him, and obviously what we've become accustomed to with Kepa Arrizabalaga. So sadly for him, Mendy is very firmly Chelsea's number 1 now. I thought he was brilliant today, despite that one moment of madness. United 0, Chelsea 0. Moving forward, the red boxes today in this video were really the game changers. If Chelsea would have got the penalty, maybe we'd have scored it. David De Gea is a decent keeper, who knows? It's all hypothetical. We come away from Old Trafford with a point, which despite the negative angle I guess I've taken in this video again today, because I do want to see Chelsea utilising the quality we have going forward, it is a decent point. I think United will be disappointed that they didn't go ahead and win it yet again. It's now 5 in a row at Old Trafford where they've not won. That won't be good enough for them or their fan base. But as for Chelsea, we can keep growing in these performances defensively. It's been a brilliant week of defending from Chelsea Football Club. 180 minutes without conceding a goal after, well, I mean, I got tired of talking about how poor our defending was in all of the 6 things we learned, mainly from this season, apart from against Palace. But it finishes 0-0. Chelsea miss out on the opportunity to move into the top 4 before the rest of the matches this weekend. We go in next week and hopefully we can start creating more chances. We've looked very feeble going forward, but defensively, we can finally say good things. So I'm going to wrap up this video here. If you did enjoy the 6 things we learned, be sure to hit the like button. As I said at the beginning, subscribe if you're new. And as always, I would love to know the 6 things that you learned in the comments down below. That's what this series is all about. You get to hear my views, I get to hear yours, and then if there is stuff that keeps coming up, I can make videos about it next week. But Chelsea have drawn again, goalless draw at United. I'm going to get this video out, get some sleep in. Hopefully we've got some goals to talk about soon. I'll see you all later. Come on, you Blues.